Hey all my sassy fly peeps, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time tuning in, you're tuning into my series on how to become a flight attendant, the flight attendant life. This is episode 3, and in this episode, I'll be discussing training, how to effectively prepare, and what to overall expect. So stay tuned. A special guest here, and this is my counterpart that I actually work with and I fly with. This is Oz.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
So I felt like today's video I wanted to go in and kind of give you more of a duo type of understanding of training versus just me. So let's dive right in. Tip is you really need to get yourself in a perfect mental space.
Absolutely. I think that being mentally prepared is the biggest piece of being prepared, because you're going to be in a totally new environment with challenges and tests every day, and so it's really important that you begin to get yourself mentally prepared. So that means take care of any bills, any relationships, any problems that you can try to manage before you get there, and try to set up a support system, because you just never know if you break down, if you fail on a test, or if you don't have money. You want to make sure that you have your support system in place.
Second tip is what to expect when you're going to training. Now let me explain something. This is just our opinion, and these are our actual experiences, what we've actually been through with this process. It may be different for some people.
Absolutely.
But for us, this is what our experiences were, and this is how we had to embrace what was in front of us. I would say for me, let me see what I had to expect. I had to expect to be very open. Coming from a very independent, being an independent person and having a career and making a salary and being very independent, I had my own space. So I had to really be very open to the fact that I'm going to go into this environment and I'm going to be sleeping in a room with a person I have absolutely nothing about. Like, that was probably my my hardest, that's what I don't know, it was very uncomfortable for me, but good thing I had a dope roommate. She was pretty cool, pretty chill. We didn't study much together, but that's okay.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But I don't have to worry about her doing weird stuff or watching me sleep in the middle of the night or nothing like that. What about you?
well, I kind of take it to like going to college. So when you first go to college, and for those of you who have gone to college and have stayed on campus, it's like going to college and getting in a dorm room. You don't know who you're going to be in a dorm with, and whom you're going to be classing with. So I kind of play it to that. I was very fortunate. My roommate was an Asian guy. We totally different worlds, but it was great because you get to learn about different cultures, and you get to learn how different people study and different people's perspectives. So it really kind of helps you to even prepare for when you're going to be on that aircraft and when you're working with customers and your fellow flight attendants on a day-to-day. So for me, it was a great experience. But there were, some challenges in learning how to manage living in one space for that month. Right. Definitely some challenges. And even like how to, for some people I heard when they were in a room, one person likes to watch TV, one person doesn't. So just trying to figure out what works for you. Yeah. You may want to stay in a room, and if you want to stay up, you may need to go downstairs to the lobby and get in the study session. So it's just learning how to work with abnormal norms.
That's a good way to put it when you think about it. Now, another thing is too, you have to really understand, this flight attendant lifestyle is not for everybody.
Absolutely. But
this probably is the longest interview process you're going to have any career.
My God.
Any career. I think I still was going through the interview after after probation. Like, I'm still kind of like, okay, dang.
Listen, it's a year later and we just finished recurrent. You still feel like you're on an interview, having to pass and having it's a continuous interview. I promise you, it's the hardest I've ever worked for the easiest job I've ever had.
Right, but it's definitely
you're gonna have to work to fly.
I give you that.
and even when you get in class, I think the teachers they will remind you that they have their wings, that they are flight attendants, and that you are not, and that you are in the process of still learning how to be that. So you have to remain humble, you have to remain in a student mentality, and remember that your goal is nothing but trying to get those wings so that you can fly. You always have to keep that in the back of your mind, because somebody may say the wrong thing to you, and you just have to remain, I am here so that I can fly. So if you just keep that in your back of your mind, that the only reason that I am here is that so I can have access to fly, I think that'll help you out.
Right. I think another tip, and you might agree, is very beneficial, is the fact that you will definitely have to filter out the positive Patties and the negative Nancy's.
Absolutely.
Because they exist. The shenanigans is never going to end. So you have to really surround yourself with people who are focused or in a place and have the same goal in mind. Even though you're all there for the same purpose, some people... they take it for granted.
Yeah, some people take it for granted, and they're not really coming there with the mindset, I'm going to be a flight attendant. I don't know what they came there for, but you can see it. You can see it in groups and how they focus and how they're talking. So just navigate yourself to people who are working hard and who are continuing to stay on track.
So let me give you a quick story time. So, like, we had night class.
Yeah.
And we would go to class at, what did we go, at 5 o'clock? 4:30, 5 o'clock. And we wouldn't get out till like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Our class, we had a large group of people that would, after a 2 a.m. class, would wake up, not go to sleep. They would go to the lobby and they would, drink and party and whatever it is they did.
Let me explain. We would drink, but we would still be going through questions, and it was like a work family situation. So it was a good way after a long day of class, with a little cocktail or something, to be able to unwind, but also to be able to prepare for the next day. Because that next day was coming, and sometimes that next day would come with the test. So you could either choose right after class, while those things were fresh in your mind, to go over it with other classmates, or get up early in the morning and go over it before class starts.
That leads me to my next tip. My next tip is you have to be the one to decide what's the best effective study habit for you.
Absolutely.
So for me, he still studied effectively. It was easy peasy for him, but for me, training was a beast. A beast. So I sat down and I studied with 1 or 2 other people when class was over at 2 a.m. because my body was already exhausted. I hadn't already overthought everything that the people were saying. So I slept, and I woke up early in the morning and I studied. But however, at the end of the day, this goes to show that whether you study right away or study in a big environment or a small environment, you can effectively pass training and you can effectively be a dope flight attendant like we are. Duh. But yeah, so that would be, my next tip.
I agree. You just have to find, and for some of you guys like myself, it was a long time since I've been in a classroom environment, so learning how to study again was a bit of a challenge. And I try to study independently, but I work best when I'm around other people who are studying, because sometimes I will have a question on a process or a rule or a procedure, and if I can bounce it off of one of my other classmates, they may help make it clear for me. So working with my classmates right after class when we're all fresh and ordering food, and that worked for me.
It's a thriving environment.
Because there were a lot of times, there was one classmate in particular, shout out to Essie, shout out Essie girl, what's up? She knew her stuff, and sometimes she would continue to reiterate certain things, and then the next day we would have a test,
and it'll be on there.
And it'll be on there, and we're arguing with her.
I agree. I'll agree with that. Like it was actually like the last final that we had right before finals. Like I told you, I normally kind of was like the quiet person, study by myself, but it was something about that last day that I was just like, all right, we ain't gonna see each other that much after this, so I'm gonna be with the group. I'm gonna be honest, y'all. That probably was the best decision I could have made because you're right. You're able to piggyback. You're able to piggyback off of other people's thoughts. What's right? What's wrong? And if you know it's wrong, it's a group of people that's like, nah, girl, that's wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, when you get back to and you go into class for that test, you're able to really go back and reference. Like, I remember we talked about this, and that's not the answer. I remember that. So it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
There were things during those training sessions with our classmates that she kept. We would argue with her, and then we get in that room.
Oh my goodness!
And it was right there, just how she laid it out.
Yeah.
So,
it's true.
You just have to find what works for you. For me, it was working with people. For you, maybe studying by yourself. But I wouldn't rule out getting a classmate or two to just piggyback on some questions that you may have.
Great. I know you had fun with the both of us, but this right here, I consider confessional. So I'm gonna ask Oz. Okay. I'm gonna ask you.
All right.
What would you say your overall experience of training was? Like, what is your overall experience from going to training? And actually, to be really quite honest, guys, it's been a little over a year now. Yeah. So what is your overall experience as a flight attendant and the training process? We'll start with the training process and then the flight attendant.
Like I said earlier, preparing to be a flight attendant, it was the hardest I've ever worked for a job, but the easiest job I've ever had. And I say that because they're really conditioning you to be in circumstances on that aircraft, because there's no supervisor, it's you handling those experiences. And in training, shout out and rest in peace to Debbie, who was in our class.
Yes.
We had a real life experience on ditching day, and that's when we blow up a raft and we have as if we are having a landing on water experience. And our teachers had to perform CPR with an AED in a life-threatening situation.
Yeah, real life.
And so it became real in that moment. This information that they're giving you is no games. It can happen on an aircraft, so do not take it for granted. And so from that, I really realized that, yes, you have a great time, and yes, we travel the world, but you are in control when you're on that aircraft. So it's very important that you do not take lightly the information that you're learning. But I have also had a great time afterwards. Every time I have a day off, I'm generally not at home. I am in another city doing something somewhere.
Making change, being great.
Yes. And it gives you access to the world. You have access to the world at that moment. So if you have any other aspirations of being an entrepreneur or other things, it gives you leverage to make the world your playing ground.
Right.
And it also has afforded an opportunity for my parents. I'm now probably the most favorite child because they get to fly for free. So a lot of great benefits that come with it. So you just have to, when you're in training and you're test taking, and if you have to take a test over or do a drill over, you just have to remain focused that there are great benefits on the end of the training.
I would say for me, my takeaway from training was the awesome people I got to meet. This was not my first go round. I had been to a training already, which was a regional, but let me tell you something, the airline that I'm with right now by far had awesome training, awesome trainers, and the people that I got to meet, it's kind of like when you're in training, it's a culture. Yeah. And they have you really believing like, you're a family. And another important thing I kind of got from it was the fact that these are friends that you're probably going to have for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
That you don't have to talk to every day to know that you still in them skies, girl. You do it. All right, I see you around. And when you see them, you're so happy to embrace them because you know how hard it was for you to come along.
Absolutely.
Another takeaway I got was, that stuff is real. Like he said, when you get in the airplane and you in that tube, this is a tube here. It's only you. Your counterparts, the captains and the pilots can't help you. You have to be in complete control. So I believe that the training experience really provides you all the necessities that you need to be able to control and contain any situation in air. And you're right, rest in peace to Debbie, because I think that right there, was one of those breaking points. Like, is this for me or is this not for me? This is real life. This stuff really happens, So, and it also gave me reassurance that what my instructors are telling me is real. They're not just saying, listen, you need to do your CPR. They have showed you that this is what they saved somebody's life.
Absolutely.
In actual real life. So for me, that's what I really got out of it. And as far as the overall experience with being a flight attendant, of course, you guys already know I came from my career, my 9 to 5, and I transitioned to become a flight attendant. And my goal and vision is huge. It's bigger. And I've already expressed to you guys that, at this point, being a flight attendant, you're able to cut the middleman out of whatever it is you want to cut the middleman out of.
Absolutely.
Just depending on how you use your benefits and what you decide to do. I haven't traveled as much because I will be honest with you. When you are a flight attendant, and this is just from my experience, once you're in the air and you're flying 3 and 4 days at a time, you want to get home. Okay? I'm old. At least I feel old. When I get home, I want my peace of mind. I want to lay in my bed. I want to enjoy my little doggies. And I want to embrace me. And don't ask me to do anything. Don't ask me to go have a drink, a lunch, or nothing until I get that peace. And once I get the peace, then I'm out. Let's out of 5,000. We can go wherever. But that would definitely be, my takeaway from being a flight attendant. I don't have any regrets. I enjoy flying with the people I fly with. I enjoy engaging with all of my customers, even the little rudy ones. But that's okay, because you know what? The real belief is I won't have to see you after these last 2 hours.
No. They get off the plane and
bye-bye.
You go home, right?
Alright guys, so I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. And I know it's been a while since my, this series. However, a lot has been kind of going on for me, and I'm glad to be back. And I thought that I might give you guys a special guest instead of seeing born. Red, that's my dog doing that. She's crazy. But I just felt like I wanted to kind of give you guys another feel instead of just my thoughts and my opinions. And if you have not already, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Please, because I really feel like it's only going to get real, and I can't wait to share more of my experiences with you, and maybe Oz will come on again. Because we're dope together. However, like I said, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And I do have an Instagram. My Instagram is IamSassyFly. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or if there's a video that you want me to record, leave it below. Now, my last thing I'm going to say to you, and I know it probably feel like, okay, girl, be quiet. The last thing I'm going to say is, I want to know what step in the process of training you are. If you already have your airline, or if you're still thinking about an airline, or if you have questions, leave them below. We got you.
Well, I want to say thank you so much for having me on your show. And I want to say to you guys, make sure that you touch the world in style. And so as you're getting ready to be prepared to be a flight attendant, remember that once you hit those skies, that the world is at your hands. It's at your hands. You can do anything at that moment. Really. And you guys can follow me at Hendrix World. That's Hendrix World on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. Or you can also follow me on World Class Tastemakers. That's World Class Tastemakers on Instagram and also on Facebook.
Guys, I'll make sure to leave all his information below, because let me tell you something, you don't want to miss what he has to offer. Clearly.
Listen.
Swag at its best.
We do what we can.
See y'all later. Thanks for tuning in.